Hi, I'm Jerry Carlson, and I'm really glad you're here to join me as I share my story, especially of this past year. It's been a year. And one of the things that I'll talk about is the very rare blood disorder that I have called porphyria. But what I really want to talk about is how I got through this past year. And some of the questions that I get, and how did I do it? Well, I didn't do anything, actually. It was just trying to, take the next minute or the next second at a time. And so for me, it all came down to faith. Was I going to believe that God was going to be with me during this journey? I chose a long time ago to have faith. I think that's really a choice. You either have it or you don't, and you choose it or you don't. And I think during a really difficult time like I had this past year, boy, you're really tested, right? I felt like I was tested, whether it was coming from God or it was just myself testing myself to see, are you going to do this? Are you going to hang in there with this faith? And honestly, I've been asked that so many times. How did you hold on to your faith during this time? I mean, after suffering and crying out and going through so much, how did you do that? And I can just say that what other option was there? Was I going to pray to a tree or some object? There was something that I learned a long time ago, was that God keeps his promises. And I love that. It's one of my favorite things about God, is that he always keeps his promises. So when he said he was going to be with me in hard times, I believed it. Now I know how this works. I know that in the end, God has to be glorified in all of it. So if I had to suffer for an extended period of time, then that's how it was going to be. And whether God gets glorified here on earth or later in the next life, then that's great with me. I want that. I'm a follower of Jesus. That's my higher power. I understand everybody else has a choice in that, and you may have a different higher power, and I understand that. Mine is Jesus. My Creator is God Almighty. And so going back to the Creator and calling on him to help me seemed like the right thing to do. It never seemed wrong, even when I wasn't able to get out of that bed. I was in the hospital for 8 months, and for an additional 2 months in and out of the hospital. So, but being paralyzed that whole time, that was a big deal. That was something I didn't see coming. I never would have ever guessed that I would have experienced something like becoming paralyzed from the neck down. I don't know, it's probably a good thing that I didn't know it was coming, because it was hard. When I am dealt a really hard deck of cards, if you will, when I fall on really hard times, I imagine this thing, this image in my mind of Jesus standing at the top of a hill, the top of a mountain, and I am climbing up this mountain little by little, trying to get there to the top so that I can get through this ordeal or this hardship. And when I imagine, is Jesus at the top of that mountain yelling down to me, keep going, Wait till you get to the top of this mountain and see what's on the other side. I can't wait for you to see. To me, I can't wait to see what's on the other side too. I can't wait to see when I get through this, what good is going to come out of it. There's always going to be good that comes out of it. And so the thing is, I learned a really long time ago, and I love that I learned this, that if I know what God knows, I would want my prayers answered exactly the same way that He answers them. If I knew what God knew this past year, I would want Him to answer my prayers the way that He answered them and the way that He continues to answer them. I'm not walking yet. Oh, I will. I'm determined. I'm really determined. And if God has a different plan, and He'll reveal that to me in His time. But for now, that's the plan. That's the image I have, is me walking. And so I can't wait to get to the top of that mountain where I can look down with what's on the other side of this journey, of this hard time, and to see what it is that's out there for me, what it is. And maybe I'll get some kind of an understanding as to why this all happened. And maybe I won't. And that's okay. I don't have to know everything. Because the truth is, if I know what God knows, then I don't need Him. Why would I need God if I'm as wise and I know everything that He knows? Then what do I need Him for? Right? There are going to be mysteries of God that we're not going to understand. And there are going to be things that we go through that are horrible, that are tough. There are people who have gone through far worse than the things I've gone through. I've suffered a lot. But some people have suffered so much more. And God is there for them too. And having that faith is a choice. And I chose it a long time ago. And I hold hard to it. And why do I do that? Because God has shown me so many times that He is there in all of it. Not just this time, but in all different kinds of hardships I've had. God shows up. And because He doesn't knock on our door and show us, or because He doesn't show up in the way that maybe we think He should show up, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the fact that He is still there. And every once in a while, I really believe that we get a nudge from God, letting us know He's there. I don't want to be focused so hard on the negative that I miss out on that. I don't want to miss out on the nudges. I want to keep praising God through all of it and keep believing that it's going to be okay. Believe me, I was hating every minute of any suffering I had. I hated every minute lying in that bed, not knowing if I would ever walk again or sit up again or move my hands or be able to hug my grandchildren. Today I can hug my grandchildren. I'm grateful for that. I'm driven by gratefulness. So I am really, really grateful that I finally get to wrap my arms around my grandchildren and just give them a big hug. Yeah, I've lost at least half of my hair. My skin looks horrible. My skin is very, very thin. It rips easy. There's all kinds of things that I could focus on, and I don't look the same. I can't even put my makeup on right. I mean, I barely have any on because there's no way I would have it all over the place. So you get what you get right now. And I'm okay with just showing my face like it is because it's real. This is real life for me. My hair used to be a big part of me, you know? It's hard to get a glimpse in the mirror after a couple of months of not seeing a mirror at all. And now all of a sudden, I look like this? Really? Actually, I look better today than I did months ago, so I'm grateful for that. But it's really hard to see yourself differently than you've seen yourself. So, yeah. There are always going to be hard times, always. But there's always going to be good times. I don't want to miss out on that. So I am going to choose to be driven by gratefulness. I'm going to choose to hold on to my faith no matter what. And I hope you will too. I'd love to know what you do to hold on to your faith, or if you struggle with your faith. I mean, come on, most of us do. What do you do that's helpful? What do you think would be helpful for others to hear? I'd love for you to comment on that. I would love to hear that. So I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to you sharing your thoughts with me. And thank you so much for being here. And I have received so many comments and encouragement. It means the world to me. I have been carried by prayer warriors, and I can't thank you enough. We'll keep on moving forward. Baby steps, maybe even smaller than baby steps. Yeah, sometimes. And I'll take it as long as it's a step forward. I can go with that. So I hope that's encouraging to you in some way. And I thank you so much for tuning in. I'll look forward to sharing more with you soon. And in the meantime, make it a great day for you and someone else.